Hey there, and welcome back to one of my games. So, you're going to see we're watching a replay of one of the games I played recently. So, after I hit Diamond, I wasn't being precious about my badge, so I carried on playing and went on a 5 loss streak. So, yes, amazing, back in Platinum. But whenever I go on a big losing streak like that, I always like to sit and review my games to figure out what I did wrong. Maybe my build order was a bit messed up, or something like that. So I thought you might enjoy that. So I didn't play these games particularly well, but I want to go back and just have a quick look at sort of where the game turned really badly for me and what didn't exactly work out. So the first thing I notice here with my build order is that system took a really long time to get built. That needs to be up way quicker, because it also means it's delaying the gold, because really this house should be built way before the 8th villager comes out, ninth villager comes out. So scouting path on this one is not particularly good, so because I was caught out by the French guy here, but we're not going to worry too much about scouting on this map. Because I'm on the sheep, I have to come back, but also with Season 8 on the way with the sheep changes, it definitely is going to mean that the scouting will be slightly different as of Season 8. So at the moment, the build order's looking fine, and we're actually going to be skipping through speeding things up, because I want to show you exactly how I review them. So now what I'm looking for is the age up timing. So if my eco is on point, I should be going up at about 215, something like that. So if we slow down in a second, here we go. So 214, 215, and there we go. Okay, so not far off, even with the thing going up. That's obviously a little bit slow getting that down. So the winery positioning, I wanted it to be one farm away from the TC. I didn't want it to be too far because it was front, so I didn't want it to be exposed, and I knew that we were going to be going against French knights. So my plan for this one was to try and defend with spears, and then go into archers, I believe. So this is a matchup actually that I haven't played very often, and I do actually find it quite difficult to play against knight civs, especially French, because I can never quite figure out the micro and getting the right units and stuff like that. So if we speed up through the resources, and we're going to go over to caster mode now, because I want to see how my eco is comparing to the French player. So I know that he went for School of Cavalry. I did actually scout that, and I wanted my barracks to go up as soon as physically possible, because I knew that a knight would be coming over to my base at like 4:35 minutes. So that barracks is going up, and we are moving over to wood now to try and do that. The second cistern not gone up immediately, so that's obviously a bit of a misplay as well, because that's going to be hurting my eco. So one of these guys should have definitely built that. So I think I sent my barracks villager over there, so not exactly ideal. Also, I didn't plan the placement perfectly, so I actually have to build a little aqueduct here, which is a little extra stone. So it's obviously nice and straight, so that's going to allow me lots of building room. So generally that covers the wood line, which is pretty good. It covers the gold, and this one covers the berries and the TC as well. So, you know, it could be worse. I could have potentially gone for one up here, and that would have also got that, but it's quite exposed there. So this map, definitely I should have walled in way earlier than I did, because I haven't even considered that yet. So one thing looking at this map now, if I'd put one little short wall here, that would have stopped them circling around, and actually maybe even just one here with the stone, just straight across here, would have, and just into the TC range, would have just protected this whole back line. Also, these two wood lines here were actually nice and defensive, so a wall up here would have been pretty good. So I think rather than going for my next production, if I'd have used this wood to build some defensive walls while the spears were defending my berries, could have worked out pretty well for me. So if we take a look at the villager numbers, I've only got 6 on wood. Really, I should probably have about 8 if I'm trying to make all these production buildings and stuff like that. But yeah, not walling against the French, that should have been something I did way earlier. I could have also considered pulling off the gold and going straight onto wood to make sure I get the walls and these production buildings out slightly more quickly, but in this game the main thing that I didn't do very well is microing my spears. So we're about to see the first part in action, and I find this very difficult. So this knight's come in and it's pulled that spear away, and there's also another one which we can see skirting along the edge of the map here. So these spears running in trying to get that knight, and the other ones are coming in to get my villagers there. So that's one down already, the second one's about to go down, and that spear is just sitting there. So this is something I find particularly challenging, and now this spear is actually... oh, it's actually doing some pretty good work at the top. I didn't actually remember seeing that, but he has managed to get away with 2 health, and that spear is never going to catch him. So if chivalry comes in, and now this is where the spears just start chasing, so I did a good an okay job there pulling it away, but 2 villagers down at this stage is really not very good for me, because the French also get that buff as well. So if we speed up, I got a couple of spears here. They probably should be a bit closer to the berries so I can stop the knights coming in. And at this point, I definitely should have walled off in some way just to prevent these raids. Just a little one there, but nothing as of yet. So this is definitely not ideal. I've also got loads of oil, and I'm not producing any longbows yet, so that's obviously very slow getting those out. And the scout there, these 2 knights, and I think I can't see them. So... oh, I can see them, and I just decided to not do anything. So these, there we go. See that micro there again, very, very terrible. So if you see, he pulled all my spears off to one side, and then he ran in with the other one. So what I really need to be doing is put 1 spear here on stand ground, 1 spear here on stand ground, and then the other ones can do what they want. But then those knights would actually have to really commit and do damage and take a lot of damage. So here they're running away, and they're just sitting in that stealth forest. I can't actually see them, so these spears are just going to stop as soon as they get there because they can't find them anymore. So my scout decided to run under their TC as well, which isn't ideal. So looking at this now, I'm still producing spears, and I've got some longbows coming in, but still, there we go. That's the first wall at like 8 minutes, so that's really not ideal. So if we carry on, I still never built this wall, I think. That's really... yeah, so I actually don't think I scouted this part of my base. I think if we have a look, yeah, so I actually didn't know that. And so the knights are coming in, doing more damage on the backside there, and I've lost 5 villagers now, which is really not so good. So now I basically pull my entire army because I want to try and do some damage, and I think this is potentially not the best idea against the French. So I didn't actually realise he was walling in, so I had no vision of this. And this is where I find this map really, really tricky, because it's very difficult to have any vision, and he's towering, so that's actually really good for him. But my base is just defended on one side now, but nothing on the other side, so definitely should have considered getting walls up much more quickly. That little stone wall there, I'm doing it now, but I didn't see his knights going around there, so that's really what happened. So I was pulling around to try and get to his gold at the back, because I wanted to stop castle timing or something like that, obviously because he's pretty close, so I knew that was kind of what he was doing. But now we're going for the base trade, so he's got all of these knights in my base, and I don't have any military at home to defend it. So this is really where I think the game is over. We're going to see the damage that he managed to do. So he's running around my eco, and I'm just destroying buildings up here. So this is where I was trying to produce units to defend, but missing these units coming into my base. That's basically it. So at this point, if we look, he's about to hit castle, I'm nowhere near, and he's taken out a huge number of villagers. So I'm not going to go much further than this, because I think at this point we can see the problems that I had that have basically led to the end of this game, because I do actually go for another TC, but 21 villagers down. I do actually take these, but I don't manage to do as much damage in their base at the back, so it just doesn't work out that well for me. There's a couple of units over here getting some villagers there, and some villagers over here that are getting attacked, but yeah, definitely he's come off on top of that, and I just wasn't able to pull it back from this point. So I'm going to leave it for this game here, because normally once I reach a point where the game is basically over, and also I didn't see them running into my wood line there, so this is where it's going to be absolute carnage. And then we'll move into the second French game so that we can analyse that one and see whether I made the same mistakes or some other ones. Okay, and game number 2. So like the other one, we're going to be skipping through and checking out my build order, and then we're going to be seeing how I managed to tackle this one. So this one, I definitely think the composition was a big problem, but I tried to be a bit more defensive in this one, so we're going to see how that goes. So looking at this, 20 seconds on my cistern isn't even placed. That's way too slow, super, super slow, and a couple of people who've watched my games have also told me that as well, so I do know that's a problem. I'm working on it, guys, but this is the whole point. It's all about learning, so that's the first thing that I can improve within the first 20 seconds of the game. And it's only minor, but having this up 15 seconds earlier gives you that extra 10%, so it really is important. So if we speed through this bit, because I'm going to be going 7 on food, 3 over onto the onto the gold, so pretty standard. I've started liking doing this scouting path where I just go straight over and across, and I think I do okay for sheep actually. I've got 11 there, so that's pretty good. So obviously, as the French, we know he's probably going to be going for School of Cavalry. I also have this back market here. To be honest, I tried to put the cistern there for it, and then in the end I didn't even remember that the market was there, so it was basically a complete waste. The timing there's generally is fine. This cistern should have been here. because then it would have got the wood line and the gold. So it should have been here to get those two, and then the second one should have been here, which would have got the wood and the berries and the stone as well. So looking at the spawn, if we take a look at caster mode so we can take a look at the map, so this wood line is a perfect defensible. This should have been this is a little wall across the front, and then really looking at this side, it's quite open. Obviously I could wall across here, but looking back on this now, the berries are my most important resource. So I was thinking about what's the easiest to wall off. I should have been thinking about what was the best thing to wall off. So the berries are my most important resource. If I don't have gold initially, it's actually not the end of the world. And so what I should have done is put a little short wall to the stone, and I should have put a little wall from the stone to the edge of the map here. So super safe, super tight, and it would have stopped any raids on these berries, because the resources I get from those berries would be massive. And we're just going to speed up now a little bit. Then what I could have done is built one wall. Basically I could have just gone from here to the stone, and then I could have gone to the wood and just a couple of little tiny walls here, not really getting many resources, but then it forces the fight into one place. So then I could basically just have all my spears here, and that would stop all of those night raids, because then they've only got 2 points of attack, which is the gold and the wood line. So that would have made my life a lot easier. So now the second cistern is actually going up over here because I need it on the wood, so the berries are also not really that covered. So not the best positioning there of my cisterns, which again is something that's really important as the Byzantine, so it's important to work on. I also haven't dropped that cistern yet, and it doesn't even look like it's in queue, so this is very slow, my cistern placement. There we go, going up then, and I'm trying to rush it because of the bonus, but yeah, not very good from me. So we've got wheelbarrow in, but obviously it's in there, and I have got dialecticus, so it is coming through a little bit more quickly, and I pull off the gold to try and be a bit more defensible, and I start putting that wall in. So spears are coming out and spears are going to the winery. If I'd have got these walls up here, the spears wouldn't need to go over there. So I think that's the first sort of misplay. So I did know that they were out on the exposed resources, but at this point I was just trying to defend those raids because there's not a huge amount I can do. So there's a scout coming in from this side, and we can see the knight there getting it. Because I've got my spears on the berries, I am trying to do that, but taking a huge amount of damage there, but yeah, still not the best position for me to be in, and I'm trying to put down my mercenaries now. So in terms of composition, while we're looking at these units massing up and we keep an eye on these knights, I went for spear javelin in this one because I knew he was going to be going for knight archer. I think actually that's a very difficult composition for me to use, because you need to micro your spears to save them from the archers, and then the javelins have to target the archers. It's very micro heavy, and as you've seen probably from my games, my micro is non-existent. This is me being very greedy, and I thought I'd go for some stone to get some additional cisterns up, so that I could buff my eco and stuff like that. But because I hadn't defended this, now I'm off the berries, so I have got some oil which I'm not spending. That's also not ideal. So now I'm forced back onto my sheep. So luckily I did get a lot of sheep, but now my whole base is basically exposed. These knights are running around under the gold, and these knights and archers are here now guarding this side. So I'm basically pinned in to this point. So this is a really bad position for me to be in. So I'm trying to wait for my javelins to come out, and the spears are doing this, but now the spears are not going to be able to do the damage with these archers lurking around. And you can see now the mass is looking very scary against me from this side. So now they have a really good position that all they've got to do is keep poking from here, and I can't get to any of those berries for the oil, which at this stage is what's going to make a massive difference. I do go for some archers as well, because I want to try and take out their archers. I think in this case, really what I need to be doing is just be going for horses and spears immediately, and then adding in javelins afterwards, because then the horses will be able to take out the archers, the spears will be able to take out the knights, and it's a much less micro-intensive, and I could send a couple of horses round to do some raiding, so that would work really well. And then eventually, if I get enough of a mass of javelins, I would be able to do more damage. So at the moment I've got a decent mass, but it's yeah, it's not going to last too long. I'm you know, going to spoil the ending, but I did manage to sneak out on those berries, which meant I was able to get more oil. But you can see here I'm trying to be really defensive, but with all of these archers, the 12 archers, my spears are not going to be able to survive that long. And the ram basically is pulling me out here, the archers get caught out, and I'm trying to micro them around, trying to stop them getting killed by the knights, and all those archers are just targeting my spears down. I was trying to get them down, but the number of spears I had was just way too low. So it could have worked potentially if I'd had more spears, and I did think I defended relatively well, but this is where the numbers just keep turning against me. So excuse me. So this, I think, is where a bit more smart walling. Like the previous game, I didn't actually wall defensively enough, so I actually could have probably walled in this entire side. If I was going to be fighting over here, I should have really walled in somewhere, just to make my life a little bit easier. Even just here would have actually made quite a big difference. So I do have quite a lot of units, but a lot of them are archers and javelins, and I needed way more spears because he has 10 knights and I have 9 spears, so that's never going to work, because now we can see the numbers of my spears are just slowly being whittled down. So I've got 6, 4, and then the knights basically don't even have to worry about them, and they can just run under everything. So at this point the game is basically over and those rams are doing damage. So we're going to go into slow motion so you can enjoy the knights doing absolute carnage while we think about what could have been done better. So I definitely think more defensive walling would have made a massive difference. Changing my composition, going spear horseman at least at the beginning, and then going into javelins to get rid of those archers, and then raiding on those external resources like the deer and the boar definitely would have meant his army would have to be at home defending, or he's going to lose a lot of economy. In this game I defended my villagers way better than I'd done before, but putting some more intelligent walls down would have definitely saved me a lot of trouble in that case. So next time I go up against the French, changing that composition, getting those walls down, and also getting my cisterns down in better places, and getting them down more quickly, because that's going to make a huge difference in terms of my economy and stuff like that, and then I won't lose them to rams like I'm about to do here. So I hope you've enjoyed this quick recap, replay, review of my own games. This is exactly what I do when I go on a losing streak. I just take a second, go back, learn from it, and then come back to hit the ladder, because it doesn't matter if you're losing if you're learning. But yeah, if you have any tips to fight the French, or there's anything else that you notice that you think I could have done better, I'm always open to tips, and I'll see you next time for hopefully some more better gameplay from me.